Lewis and Clark, Dillon, Montana. Welcome to Dillon, Montana. Dillon, Montana is precisely the kind of place that lives up to the phrase, small town, big heart. Dillon is a quintessential small town with a population of around 4,000, known for its welcoming community and rich traditions, nestled near the Beaverhead River in the Pioneer Mountains. Dillon, Montana is surrounded by 11 mountain ranges and nestled in the sweeping valleys of southwest Montana, where the Ruby, Big Hole, and Beaverhead rivers converge and are blue ribbon trout streams, drawing expert anglers from all over the world. The town historically boasted one of the largest wool warehouses in Montana. This allows for 100% American-made merino wool clothing. Dillon's cultural heritage thrives with events like sheep drives and rodeos that celebrate ranching traditions. Duckworth is a remarkable Montana story, and Dillon is its beating heart. Duckworth is a premium wool clothing company that's proudly based in Dillon, Montana, and it's one of the few in the U.S. that controls its entire supply chain, from sheep to shelf. The Helle Family Ranch, just outside Dillon, raises open-range Montana merino sheep. Their model is 100% American-made, featuring a sustainable domestic supply chain that supports ranchers, mills, and manufacturers across the nation. The Dillon City Hall building, with a steeple-like turret, is a standout historic building in downtown Dillon. It's a historic gem. It's the kind of place where history, nature, and community blend into a laid-back lifestyle that's hard to resist. The downtown area of Old West Dillon still embodies the spirit of the frontier days. Historic brick buildings line the streets, many dating back to the late 1800s and early 1900s. The classic Old West architectural style, known as false front architecture, features tall, flat facades designed to make buildings appear larger and more imposing. The vintage signage and storefronts evoke the charm of a bygone era, reminiscent of saloons, general stores, and saddle shops. Built in 1909, the railroad station in Dillon. The station was constructed by the Union Pacific Railroad. Dillon was chosen as a key stop because of its proximity to mining operations, cattle ranches, and agricultural centers. The station helped transport goods like ore, livestock, and grain to markets across the country. For decades, the station served as a gateway for travelers coming to and from Dillon, whether for business, tourism, or relocation. As automobile travel and trucking grew in the mid-20th century, passenger rail service declined. The station eventually ceased operations, but remains a historic site and visual reminder of Dillon's railroad heritage. The town of Dillon, Montana, is named after Sidney Dillon, who was the president of the Union Pacific Railroad in the late 19th century. When the railroad expanded into southwestern Montana in the 1880s, the town was initially called Terminus because it marked the end of the rail line at the time. But as the city grew and became more permanent, it was renamed Dillon to honor Sidney Dillon's role in bringing the railroad an economic opportunity to the region. The name stuck, and the town was officially incorporated in 1884. So in essence, Dillon owes its name to the railroad. The old train station in Dillon, Montana, has been beautifully converted into the Beaverhead County Museum. This building originally served as Dillon's train depot and was a vital hub during the peak of rail travel and freight in Montana. The museum retains its classic early 20th century railroad style. Visitors can explore a variety of artifacts from Native American tribes, early settlers, ranching families, and mining operations, highlighting Dillon's wool and agricultural heritage. Additionally, there are displays honoring the Lewis and Clark expedition, showcasing the region's connection to their journey. Lewis and Clark, Clark's Overlook, Dillon, Montana by August. Near what we now call Dillon, Montana, the core of discovery faced a quiet but critical challenge. The Beaverhead River, winding, shallow, and cold, was no longer a reliable route. William Clark's journal captures the moment with quiet clarity. The men struggled to move the dugouts up an increasingly shallow and winding river. My next stop on the Lewis and Clark Trail is Clark's Overlook in Dillon, Montana, a town with significant connections to the explorers. My visit will be to Clark's Lookout, where they paused their journey along the river. As I drove into the park on Lover's Leap Road, I felt a wave of excitement over me. In the lush surroundings, I could feel the anticipation building as I approached the spot where that impressive rock awaited me. Just thinking about hiking and standing at the summit where Captain Clark once did. I couldn't wait to experience that spectacular view. Upon first seeing Clark's Lookout from the bottom of the hill, I was pleasantly surprised by its humble charm. While it rises only about 40 to 75 feet above the floodplain and the Beaverhead River, it turned out to be more of a gentle hill than a dramatic cliff. As I moved closer, I felt an exciting sense of connection to the rich history that surrounds this spot. As I entered Clark's Lookout State Park, I was greeted by a peaceful, open landscape that exuded a strong sense of history. The entrance is unassuming. There was no ranger staff, grand gates, or flashy signs, setting the tone for a quiet, reflective experience. A gravel parking area features a few interpretive signs that introduce the site's significance. A short trail leads up the hill, inviting me to retrace Clark's steps and take in the same vantage point he used to chart the expedition's course. I began my hike along a trail lined with sagebrush, accompanied by the soothing sounds of the rugged Montana landscape. Retracing the steps of William Clark, as I reached the summit, a granite compass monument marks the exact bearings Clark recorded in 1805, and interpretive signs explain his navigation methods. In Montana, Clark mapped key landmarks like Three Forks, Beaverhead Rock, and Clark's Lookout. He utilized a sextant, compass, and dead reckoning to estimate distances and directions, frequently while traveling by boat. His field notes included details about river courses, tributaries, mountain ranges, and Native American villages, all sketched with impressive precision. On August 13, 1805, on this spot, Clark wrote this in his journal: "I ascended a high point of limestone rocks on the starboard side of the river. From its summit, I took compass bearings to three distinct landmarks: the course of the Wisdom River, the gap where the Beaverhead River cuts through the mountains, and the pointed hill Sacagawea, later identified as Beaverhead Rock." What Clark decided at the lookout was that navigating the challenges of shallow waters and rocky shoals made it clear that continuing upstream by boat was becoming unsustainable. The river was too shallow for the heavy dugouts, and the men were exhausted from dragging the boats through the frigid water. Clark ordered the crew to temporarily haul the boats along the riverbank, knowing they were nearing the Rocky Mountains and would soon need to switch from water travel to horseback. Rather than abandoning the boats right away, the view is nearly unchanged: Clark's Overlook. It's one of the few places on the Lewis and Clark Trail where the landscape remains almost untouched. The highest point on the outcrop is 5,102 feet above sea level, but only 40 feet above the floodplain here. Clark used this location as a surveyor's station or triangulation point, taking at least three distinct bearings from it. "From the top of this rock," he wrote, "point of the Beaverhead Hill bears north 24 degrees, east 12 miles. The course of the Wisdom River is north 25 degrees west. The gap at the place the river passes through a mountain in advance is south 18 degrees west, 10 meters." Standing on top of Clark's Lookout, the limestone beneath my boots felt solid, but the moment felt weightless, like I'd stepped into a page of the journal itself. Clark wrote, "I ascended a high point of limestone rock from which I had a commanding view of the river and the surrounding country. I stood still, letting the wind move through me, imagining Clark, tired, determined, and quietly hopeful. This was one of the few places on the trail where we knew he stood, and now so did I." At the conclusion of the journey, Clark estimated that the Corps had traveled 4,162 miles from Camp River du Bois to the Pacific Ocean. Modern measurements indicate he was off by only about 40 miles, a stunning achievement considering the challenging terrain, lack of maps, and rudimentary instruments available at the time. His maps were so reliable that they were used for decades by fur traders, settlers, and future explorers. Clark's maps were not just functional, they were foundational. They helped shape the geographic understanding of the American West and remain a testament to his observational skills and perseverance. They were foundational. They helped shape the geographic knowledge of the American West and remain a testament to his observational skill and perseverance. Standing at the base of Clark's Lookout, I took one last time to reflect on the history beneath my feet and imagine what William Clark saw in 1805. This wasn't just a scenic hill, It was a strategic point that helped guide the Lewis and Clark expedition to the Pacific. As I looked out over Beaverhead Valley, I felt a rush of awe. Many come here for the view, but few realize the significance of this quiet yet powerful place where geography has shaped American history.